Episode 3. More Than a Character. Willie's new clothes arrived at 10:30 in the morning on day 3, which Jade knew because she'd been awake since 6, staring at her ceiling and trying to convince herself that she was not developing serious romantic feelings for a fictional character who had somehow become real. She was failing spectacularly at this self-convincing. The problem was that Willie was just so aggressively perfect. He'd woken up before her, somehow figured out the coffee maker without burning down the apartment, and had a steaming mug waiting for her when she emerged from her bedroom looking like a sleep-deprived raccoon. Her hair had achieved new levels of chaos overnight, forming what could only be described as a gravity-defying sculpture of red curls that seemed to be staging a rebellion against the concept of order. "Good morning," Willie said cheerfully, handing her the coffee. "I hope I made it correctly. I watched 3 videos on your phone about proper coffee brewing." Jade took the mug and sipped. It was perfect. Of course it was perfect. Willie had probably never made a bad cup of coffee in his life, fictional or otherwise. "It's great," she mumbled. "You're great. Everything is great, and I'm definitely not having an emotional crisis before 11 a.m. Willie tilted his head in that endearing way he had. "Are you feeling well?" He seemed distressed. "I'm fine. Just didn't sleep great. Lots of weird dreams about physics and reality and whether any of this is actually happening or if I'm in a coma somewhere." "If you are in a coma, then I am also in your coma," Willie pointed out, "which means we are sharing a coma. That seems unlikely." "Shared coma. Great. That's totally reassuring and not at all more disturbing than a regular coma." The delivery notification chimed on Jade's phone, saving her from further spiraling into coma-based existentialism. She grabbed the packages from outside her door and brought them in, feeling oddly nervous. This felt significant somehow. Willie changing out of his visitor uniform and into modern clothes, like it would make him more real, more present, more dangerous to her already compromised emotional state. Willie opened the packages with the excitement of a kid on Christmas morning, pulling out jeans and t-shirts and examining them with fascination. "These are very soft," he said, holding up a navy blue t-shirt. "And the colors are nice. Not like the uniforms on the ship. Those were always rust and brown. Practical, but dull." "Yeah, we've gotten pretty good at comfortable clothing in the last 40 years, Jade said. "Fast fashion and all that, which is actually kind of terrible for the environment, but also means you can get decent clothes cheap, so it's complicated." "Many things in your world seem complicated," Willie observed. "That should be humanity's motto. Everything is complicated, and we're all just pretending we understand it." Willie took the clothes to the bathroom to change, and Jade tried very hard not to think about the fact that he was undressing in her bathroom. That her brain was absolutely going to picture that, whether she wanted it to or not. That she was a grown woman who should be able to handle the concept of someone changing clothes without turning into a blushing mess. She was not handling it well. When Willie emerged, Jade's brain short-circuited completely. The jeans fit him perfectly, hugging in all the right places. The t-shirt was just snug enough to show that he was definitely in good shape without being obscene about it. He'd rolled up the sleeves slightly, and Jade found herself staring at his forearms like they were the most fascinating things she'd ever seen. "Do these fit correctly?" Willie asked, looking down at himself. "I am not certain how they should feel." "They fit great," Jade managed, her voice coming out slightly strangled. "Really great. Very appropriate levels of fitting. You look completely normal and not at all like someone who just walked out of my fantasies." Willie looked up quickly. "I walked out of your fantasies?" I said that out loud. I said that completely out loud. I'm gonna go drown myself in coffee now." But Willie was smiling, that gentle smile that made her stomach do complicated gymnastics. "I do not mind being in your fantasies. That is a nice thought. It's an embarrassing thought that I should have kept inside my head where it belongs, Jade muttered into her coffee mug. Why is it embarrassing to find someone attractive? Willie asked, moving closer. This is a natural feeling, yes? Natural for normal people who have normal attractions to real people who exist in their reality. Less natural when you've been obsessed with a TV character for years and then he materializes in your living room and now you can't stop thinking about how good he looks in modern jeans. I think these jeans are very comfortable, Willie said, completely missing the point or possibly intentionally deflecting. And I'm glad you think I look good in them. You also look very good today. Jade glanced down at her outfit, leggings and an oversized sweater that she'd owned since college. Her hair was still doing its impression of a small explosion. She barely managed to brush her teeth. I look like a disaster. You look like yourself, Willie corrected. I like yourself. And there it was. That casual kindness that kept destroying her defenses. The way he said things that were both simple and profound, like they were obvious truths rather than the kind of compliments that made her want to cry. You can't just say stuff like that, she said weakly. Why not? It is true. Because it makes me feel things, and I don't know what to do with feelings. I'm bad at feelings. Feelings are complicated. Most good things are complicated, Willie said. They stood there in her kitchen, the morning light filtering through the window, both aware that something was shifting between them. The friendship of the past 2 days was developing edges, heat, a pull that neither of them was quite ready to name. Jade cleared her throat. So, you have normal clothes now. That's good, very good. Now, you could theoretically go outside without causing a scene. Would you like to go outside? Willie asked, hopefully. Maybe later. I thought today we could have a movie day. There's something I really want to show you. A cultural touchstone you need to experience. Another film? Not just a film. The film. The most important movie in science fiction history. We're watching Star Wars. Willie's face lit up with interest. I have heard of this from your memories. Space battles and laser swords and a mystical energy field. The Force. And yes, all of that and more. It's essential viewing. I can't let you exist in this world without experiencing Star Wars. They spent the morning preparing for what Jade was internally calling the Star Wars Marathon experience. She made popcorn, gathered blankets, set up the couch for maximum comfort. Willie helped with everything, asking questions about popcorn kernels and how they popped and why butter made everything better. It is fascinating that heating these small seeds causes them to explode into something completely different, he said, watching the kernels pop through the microwave window. That's actually a pretty good metaphor for life, Jade said. Pressure and heat changing things into something new. Are we being changed by pressure and heat? Willie asked, looking at her with those deep, earnest eyes. I think we're being changed by proximity, Jade said softly. By getting to know each other. By this whole impossible situation. Change is not bad. No. But it's scary sometimes. Willie nodded. Yes. I understand scary. When I chose to help the humans, to betray my own people, that was very scary, not knowing what would happen, if I would survive, if I was making the right choice. Do you regret it? Jade asked, choosing our side. No, never. It was the right choice even when it was hard. Even when it cost me. Willie paused. Though being here now, in your time, in your world, I do wonder what happened to my friends, to Julie and the others, if they won the fight, if they survived. Jade's heart clenched. She knew what happened in the show, of course. The Resistance eventually won, the visitors were defeated, Willie survived and stayed on Earth. But that was fiction, or what she'd thought was fiction. Now, nothing made sense. In the show, you win, she said carefully. The resistance wins. The visitors are defeated. You stay on Earth and help rebuild. Willie considered this. And you think this is what truly happened? Or is it simply a story? I have no idea anymore. I thought it was all made up, but you're here, so clearly something about it was real. Maybe all of it was real. Maybe none of it was. Maybe we're in some weird alternate timeline where TV shows are just windows into other realities. Your world is very strange, Willie said. Tell me about it. I've lived here my whole life, and I still don't understand half of what's going on. They settled onto the couch with their popcorn and blankets. Jade queuing up A New Hope on her TV. Willie sat close enough that their shoulders touched, which made it very difficult for Jade to concentrate on anything except the warmth of him beside her. Okay, so quick backstory, she said as the opening crawl began. This was made in 1977, so 6 years before your show. It completely changed movies and sci-fi and basically everything. Just watch. You'll understand why everyone loves it. Willie watched with rapt attention from the first moment. He gasped when the Star Destroyer passed overhead. He leaned forward during the lightsaber duel. He made small sounds of concern when characters were in danger. Watching him experience Star Wars for the first time was almost better than watching the movie itself. The Force is like belief made real, he said during a quiet moment. Faith that becomes power. That's actually a really good interpretation, Jade said. I never thought about it that way, but yeah, it's about trusting in something bigger than yourself. Like trusting that helping the humans was right, even when I could not prove it, Willie said. Acting on faith that goodness exists and is worth fighting for. You're gonna make me cry during Star Wars, Jade said, her voice thick. That shouldn't be possible. I've seen this movie 100 times. But you are seeing it with me now, Willie pointed out. That makes it different. He was right. Everything was different with him here. Colors seemed brighter. Food tasted better. Even her tiny apartment felt bigger somehow, filled with his presence and curiosity and gentle observations about everything. They paused the movie halfway through for lunch. Jade made sandwiches while Willie examined the lightsaber toys she had on her bookshelf. You have many items from this film, he observed. I have many items from lots of films. I'm a collector. It's a hobby. It is more than hobby, Willie said, running his fingers along the spine of her Blu-ray collection. These stories are important to you. They helped you feel less alone. Jade's hand stilled on the sandwich she was making. Yeah, that's exactly it. When real life felt too hard or too lonely, I could escape into these worlds. Be part of something bigger, even if it was just in my imagination. Willie turned to face her. You do not need to escape anymore. You have me now. I am real. You're real, Jade agreed. But for how long? What if whatever brought you here decides to take you back? What if this is temporary? What if it is permanent? Willie countered. What if I am meant to stay? That's a nice thought, but we don't know. We don't know anything about how this works or what the rules are. Willie crossed the small space between them, standing close enough that Jade had to look up to meet his eyes. Then perhaps we should not worry about rules. Perhaps we should simply exist in this moment and be grateful for it. That's very Zen of you. I do not know what Zen means, but I know that worrying about tomorrow steals joy from today. I learned this from Julie. She said we must find happiness where we can, when we can, because the future is never promised. Julie sounds wise, Jade said softly. She is. She helped me understand many things about being human, about courage and hope and choosing to live even when the world is frightening. Willie paused. You remind me of her sometimes, that same strength hidden beneath uncertainty. I'm not strong, Jade protested. I hide in my apartment and avoid people and live through fictional characters. You welcomed a strange being into your home, Willie said. You have been kind and patient while teaching me about your world. You face each day, even when you feel lonely and uncertain. That is strength, Jade. You simply do not recognize it in yourself. Jade felt tears prick her eyes. No one had ever described her as strong before. Weird, yes. Awkward, definitely. Too intense, frequently. But strong? That was new. You barely know me, she whispered. I know enough, Willie said, and I would like to know more, if you will let me. There was something in his voice, in the way he looked at her, that made Jade's breath catch. This wasn't just friendly curiosity anymore. This was something deeper, more intense, something that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. Sandwiches, she said abruptly, stepping back. We should eat sandwiches and finish the movie. Lots of important plots still to come. Death Star, Trench Run, very exciting. If Willie was disappointed by her retreat, he didn't show it. He simply took his sandwich and followed her back to the couch, settling in beside her as she restarted the film. But now, the air felt different between them, charged, heavy with something unspoken. Jade tried to focus on the movie, but she was acutely aware of every point where their bodies touched. His arm against hers, the warmth radiating from him, the way he occasionally glanced at her instead of the screen, like he was watching her reactions more than the film itself. When the credits rolled, Willie was quiet for a long moment. That was wonderful, he finally said. I understand why you love it. The story of ordinary people choosing to be extraordinary. Choosing to fight for something bigger than themselves. Is that what you did? Jade asked. Chose to be extraordinary? I chose to do what felt right. If that is extraordinary, then perhaps being extraordinary is simpler than people think. Perhaps it is simply choosing kindness when cruelty is easier. God, you're profound, Jade muttered. It's not fair. You're attractive and kind, and we say stuff that sounds like poetry. How is anyone supposed to resist that? Willie turned to face her fully, his expression serious. Are you trying to resist? Jade's heart hammered against her ribs. I don't know. Maybe. This is all so confusing. You showed up 3 days ago. 3 days. People don't develop real feelings in 3 days. Why not? Willie asked. I knew within minutes of meeting Julie and the others that I wanted to help them, that they were worth risking everything for. Time is not the only measure of connection. Sometimes you simply know. But what do I know? Jade asked desperately. I've been obsessed with you for years, but that was the character, the fictional version. Now you're real, and you're here, and you're saying all these things that make me feel like I'm losing my mind, and I don't know if what I'm feeling is real, or if it's just my fantasy bleeding into reality. Willie reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and took her hand. His fingers intertwined with hers, warm and solid and absolutely real. I am not a fantasy anymore, he said gently. I am here, I am real, and what I feel when I am with you is also real. I cannot speak for what you feel, but I can tell you that I enjoy every moment in your presence. That you make me laugh, that you are teaching me about your world with patience and kindness. That when I look at you, I think you are beautiful. I'm not beautiful, Jade protested weakly. I'm a mess. My hair is out of control, and I wear leggings 3 days in a row, and I eat cereal for dinner. You are beautiful to me, Willie insisted. Everything about you. Your wild hair that does not obey rules. Your passion for stories. The way you explain things with your hands. The small sounds you make when you watch films you love. All of it. Beautiful. A tear rolled down Jade's cheek. She didn't even know she was crying until she felt the wetness. This is too much, she whispered. You're too much. I don't know how to handle this. Then do not handle it, Willie said. Simply feel it. Be in it. We do not need to name what this is or understand it completely. We can simply exist together and see what happens. What if I mess this up? Jade asked. I mess everything up. Relationships, social interactions, basic human functioning. What if I ruin this? You cannot ruin something by being yourself, Willie said, and I like yourself very much. They sat there on the couch, hands intertwined, both feeling the weight of what was building between them. The afternoon light filtered through the windows, casting everything in a golden glow that made the moment feel suspended in time. Tell me something, Jade said finally. Something real, about you. Not from the show, just something that's yours. Willie thought for a moment. I was afraid constantly on the ship. Afraid of being discovered. Afraid that someone would realize I had doubts about our mission. I would lie in my quarters at night and think about the humans I had seen, the way they loved each other, the way they fought for their world, and I would wonder if I was on the wrong side. But I was too frightened to act on those thoughts, until I met Julie and the others. Until I saw humans willing to trust me, an enemy, because they believed in my capacity for good. They gave me courage I did not know I had. Where you are. Jade squeezed his hand. That must have been terrifying, being alone with those thoughts. It was very lonely, Willie admitted. I had no one to talk to, no one who understood. I thought perhaps I was broken, that something was wrong with me for questioning our leaders. Nothing was wrong with you, Jade said fiercely. You were the only one who was right, the only one who saw the truth. And now I am here in your world, and I am lonely in a different way, Willie continued, separated from everyone I knew, from my purpose, from the fight I dedicated myself to, but also not lonely, because you are here and you understand being alone. You understand feeling like you do not fit in your world. So perhaps we are both lonely together, which is better than being lonely alone. Lonely together, Jade repeated. That's either the saddest or the most hopeful thing I've ever heard. Perhaps both, Willie said with a small smile. Jade took a shaky breath. Okay, my turn. Something real. I've never had a relationship, never had a boyfriend, never even been on a successful date. I thought there was something wrong with me years, like everyone else got some manual on how to be a person, and I just never received my copy. I'd watch people connect so easily, flirt and laugh and fall in love, and it all seemed like a foreign language I couldn't learn. So I stopped trying. Decided I'd rather be alone with my shows and books than constantly be reminded that I didn't know how to be normal. But you are not alone now, Willie pointed out. No. I'm sitting on my couch holding hands with an alien from a TV show, which is definitely not normal by any definition. Normal is overrated, Willie said. I try being normal for my people, following orders, not questioning. That was normal for a visitor, but it was also wrong. Perhaps normal and right are not always the same thing. You're doing it again, Jade said, being profound, making me think about things differently. Good. Thinking differently is how change happens, how growth happens. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, just holding hands, both processing the vulnerability they'd shared. The late afternoon light was fading, casting long shadows across the room. Do you want to watch the next movie? Jade finally asked. The Empire Strikes Back? It's widely considered the best one. Yes, Willie said. But first, may I ask you something? Sure. Why did you choose to show me this particular story, Star Wars? Of all the films you could share, why this one? Jade considered the question. Because it's about hope, I guess. about believing that good can triumph even when everything seems dark, about finding family in unexpected places, about discovering that you're capable of more than you thought, and because she hesitated. Because when I was young and lonely and didn't fit in anywhere, this story made me feel like maybe there was a place for me somewhere. Maybe not in this world, but somewhere out there in the stars, there was a place where I belonged. Willie's expression softened. And do you feel now that you belong? Here, in this world? I don't know, Jade admitted, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like maybe it's possible. Like maybe there's a place for me. And maybe she gathered her courage. Maybe that place includes you. I would like that very much, Willie said quietly. They started The Empire Strikes Back as the evening darkness settled outside. Jade ordered pizza for dinner, which Willie had never tried before. Watching him experience his first slice of pepperoni pizza was almost as entertaining as the movie. "This is very good," he declared, cheese stretching as he took a bite. "Why is it called pizza?" "I have no idea. Some things just are. Pizza is pizza." "This is acceptable logic," Willie said, taking another bite. They ate pizza and watched Luke Skywalker train with Yoda, and Willie had thoughts about everything. "The small green teacher is very wise," he observed. "Size does not determine wisdom." "Yoda's the best," Jade agreed. "He's basically the heart of the whole series. Well, him and the droids. I like the droids. They are loyal and brave, even though they are machines." "R2-D2 is the real hero," Jade said. "Changed my mind." "I cannot change your mind because you are correct," Willie said seriously. "The small droid saves everyone constantly. This is objective truth." Jade laughed, the sound filling her small apartment with warmth. She couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed this much. The last time she'd felt this comfortable with another person. As the movie continued, they shifted positions on the couch. Jade pulled her legs up, leaning against the armrest. Willie stretched out, and somehow, naturally, they ended up with Jade's feet in his lap. He rested his hands on her ankles, warm and gentle, like it was the most normal thing in the world. It should have been weird. Should have been too intimate, too fast. But instead, it felt right, easy, like they'd been doing this for years instead of days. When the big reveal happened, when Vader told Luke the truth about his parentage, Willie gasped. "He is lying," Willie said. "This must be a trick." "No trick," Jade said. "It's true. Vader is Luke's father." Willie processed this, his face showing a range of emotions. That is very sad, to learn that your enemy is your family, that the person you must fight is the person who should have protected you. Yeah, it's pretty heavy. Does Luke forgive him? Later? Jade smiled. "You'll have to watch the next one to find out." "This is manipulation," Willie accused, but he was smiling. "You are using suspense to ensure I continue watching." "It's called a cliffhanger, and yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. Welcome to fandom culture. Now you understand the suffering of waiting for the next installment." They finished the movie as midnight approached. Jade yawned, exhausted, but not wanting the evening to end, not wanting to retreat to separate rooms and break this comfortable bubble they'd created. "We should sleep," Willie said, noticing her yawn. "You are tired." "I'm okay. We could start the next one." "Jade," Willie's voice was gentle but firm. "You need rest. The final film will still be there tomorrow." "Tomorrow, you might be gone," Jade blurted out. "Every time we go to sleep, I worry that I'll wake up and you'll have disappeared, that this will all have been a dream." Willie's expression turned serious. He shifted on the couch, moving closer. His hands left her ankles and reached for her hands instead. "I am not going anywhere," he said. "I do not know how I came to be here, but I am here now, and I choose to stay. Even if I could return to my own time, I would not. Not when you are here." "You can't know that," Jade whispered. "You barely know me." "I know enough. I know that you are kind, that you see people, really see them, that you try to understand, that you have been alone but have not let loneliness make you cruel. These are important things. These are the things that matter." Tears were streaming down Jade's face now. She couldn't stop them. "Why are you saying all this?" "Because it is true. Because you should know it. Because I think no one has told you these things before, and that is wrong." "I don't know what to do with this," Jade said helplessly. "With you. With everything I'm feeling." Willie moved even closer until they were face to face on the couch. He reached up slowly, telegraphing his movements, and gently brushed a tear from her cheek. "You do not need to do anything," he said softly. "You can simply feel. Simply be. There is no right or wrong way to experience this." "I'm scared," Jade admitted. "I've never felt like this before, never felt this connected to someone, never wanted someone to stay so badly, and it terrifies me, because what if you leave? What if I lose this?" "What if you do not?" Willie countered. "What if I stay? What if this is the beginning of something good?" They were so close now that Jade could see the flecks of gold in Willie's brown eyes, could count his eyelashes, could feel his breath on her face. "I don't know how to do this," she whispered. "Do what?" "This. Whatever this is. I don't have experience with." Understanding dawned on Willie's face. "You have never been close to someone like this." "Never. I told you. No relationships, no romance, nothing. I'm completely out of my depth here." "Then we will learn together," Willie said. "I have never done this either. Not like this. Not with someone I choose, someone I care about. We are both learning." "You're not scared?" Jade asked. "I am terrified," Willie admitted, "but fear does not mean we should not try. Sometimes the most important things are the most frightening." Jade's heart was thundering so loudly she was sure Willie could hear it. Every instinct told her to pull back, to protect herself, to not risk the pain of potential loss. But a stronger instinct, one she'd been ignoring her whole life, told her to be brave, to take the chance, to reach for what she wanted instead of hiding from it. "Willie," she breathed. "Yes?" "I think I want you to kiss me." Willie's eyes widened slightly. "You think?" "No, I know. I know I want you to kiss me, but I don't know if you want to, and I don't know if I'm doing this right, if there's a right way to ask. I've seen it in movies 1,000 times, but actually doing it is completely different, and I'm rambling now, which is what I do when I'm nervous, and oh, God, please just..." Willie kissed her. It was gentle, tentative, his lips soft against hers, asking rather than demanding. Jade froze for a moment, her brain short-circuiting at the reality of actually kissing Willie. Willie from V. Willie, who is supposed to be fictional. Willie, who was very real and currently kissing her on her couch at midnight. Then her brain stopped overthinking, and her body took over. She kissed him back, her hands coming up to his face, feeling the warmth of his skin under her palms. Willie made a small sound of surprise and pleasure, his hands moving to her waist, pulling her closer. The kiss deepened. What had started as gentle and questioning became more certain, more passionate. Jade had never kissed anyone before, had no idea what she was doing, but apparently her instincts were decent because Willie definitely wasn't complaining. He kissed like he did everything else, with complete focus and genuine care, paying attention to her reactions, adjusting to what made her sigh against his mouth. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jade couldn't form words. Her brain had been replaced with static and starlight. "Was that okay?" Willie asked, his voice rough in a way that did interesting things to Jade's insides. "Okay?" Jade let out a slightly hysterical laugh. That was... I don't have words. All my words are gone. You kissed away my vocabulary. Willie smiled, that beautiful, gentle smile, but now there was something else in it. Warmth. Heat. Possibility. "I would like to do that again," he said, "if you would also like that." Yes. Definitely yes. So much yes. This time when they kissed, there was less hesitation and more confidence. Jade's hands tangled in Willie's hair, discovering it was as soft as it looked. Willie's hands tightened on her waist, pulling her closer until she was practically in his lap. The angle was awkward on the couch, their positions not quite right, but neither of them cared. Jade had read about first kisses 1,000 times in books, watched them in countless movies and shows, but nothing had prepared her for the reality, for the way her whole body seemed to come alive, for the heat pooling in her belly, for the desperate want that made her press closer, seeking more contact, more connection, more of everything. They kissed until Jade's lips felt swollen and her lungs burned for air. When they broke apart this time, Willie's eyes were dark and intense in a way she'd never seen before. "I should stop," he said, his voice strained. "I do not wish to push too far, too fast." "What if I want you to push?" Jade asked, surprised by her own boldness. Willie closed his eyes briefly. "Jade, you said you have never done this before. I do not wish to rush you. I do not wish for you to regret anything." "The only thing I regret is stopping," Jade insisted. But even as she said it, she felt the weight of her inexperience, the fear of doing something wrong, of not knowing what came next. Willie seemed to sense her hesitation. He pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead, then her nose, then her lips again, but softer this time, comforting rather than passionate. "We have time," he said. "We do not need to decide everything tonight. We can simply enjoy this. Enjoy being close, learning each other." "You're very wise for someone from a 1980s TV show," Jade murmured. "I am very motivated to do this correctly," Willie said, "because I care about you, because I want you to feel safe and happy, because rushing would be foolish when we have the opportunity to savor each moment." Jade's chest ached with the tenderness of it. "How are you real? How is this real?" "I ask myself this same question," Willie admitted. "How is it possible that I found someone who sees me, truly sees me, and chooses me anyway? This seems too good to be true, and yet here we are." "Here we are," Jade echoed. They rearranged themselves on the couch, Jade tucked against Willie's side, his arm around her shoulders. It was late. They should go to bed. But neither wanted to move, to break this perfect moment. "Tell me something else real," Jade said softly. "Something no one else knows." Willie was quiet for a moment. Sometimes on the ship, I would go to the observation deck when I was supposed to be sleeping. I would look at Earth and think about all the people down there living their lives, falling in love, making art, laughing together, and I would feel such longing. Not for conquest or resources, but for connection. For the chance to be part of something beautiful instead of something destructive. I would imagine what it would be like to have friends, to be welcomed instead of feared, to belong somewhere. "You belong here," Jade said fiercely. "With me. You belong." Willie pressed a kiss to the top of her head. "Your turn. Tell me something no one else knows." Jade took a breath. "Sometimes I would watch your show and talk to the screen. to you. I'd tell you about my day, about the things that were bothering me, about my hopes and fears, and I knew it was ridiculous, talking to a fictional character like he could hear me, but it made me feel less alone, like somewhere out there, even if it was just in my imagination, someone understood me, someone cared. Cross. I care now, Willie said. Not in imagination, in reality. I care very much. I know, Jade whispered. I'm starting to believe it. They sat in comfortable silence, both lost in thought. Outside, the city had quieted. Inside, two people from impossible circumstances held each other, both amazed by what they'd found. I should sleep in my bed tonight, Jade finally said, though she made no move to get up. We should maintain some boundaries, some sense of appropriate pacing. Yes, Willie agreed, also not moving. That is very sensible. Neither of them moved. In a minute, Jade added. Yes, in a minute. They stayed like that for another hour, just holding each other, occasionally exchanging soft kisses, talking quietly about nothing and everything. When Jade finally forced herself to stand up, her legs were stiff and her body protested leaving Willie's warmth. Good night, she said, backing toward her bedroom. Good night, Jade. Willie stood as well, looking at her with such open affection that her heart stuttered. Thank you, she blurted out, for being patient with me, for not pushing, for being you. Thank you for trusting me, Willie said, for letting me close, for kissing me. Jade's face heated at the memory. Yeah, that was good. It was very good, Willie agreed, his smile turning slightly mischievous. Jade retreated to her bedroom before she could throw all her resolve out the window and drag him with her. She closed the door and leaned against it, her fingers touching her lips, still feeling the ghost of his kiss. This was real. This was happening. She had kissed Willie. Willie had kissed her back. They had held each other and shared secrets and looked at each other like they were both discovering something precious. Jade changed into her pajamas and climbed into bed, her mind racing. 3 days ago, her life had been predictable and lonely. Now it was chaotic and confusing, and filled with an alien who said profound things and kissed like he was trying to memorize the taste of her. She had no idea what tomorrow would bring. No idea how long Willie would stay, or what this thing between them would become. But for the first time in her life, Jade wasn't afraid of the unknown. Because Willie was right. Sometimes you simply knew. And Jade knew, with a certainty that defied logic or reason, that whatever this was, it was worth exploring. Worth risking her carefully constructed walls. Worth believing in. In the living room, Willie lay on the couch bed, his fingers touching his own lips, his mind replaying the kiss over and over. He had kissed people before, but had never felt like this. Never felt so significant, so world-altering. Jade was special, not just because she had welcomed him, though that was remarkable, but because she saw him, really saw him, not as a weapon or a tool, or even just as a hero from a resistance. She saw Willie, the person beneath everything else, the one who was curious and uncertain and trying his best to be good. And she had chosen him anyway. Willie closed his eyes and sent another wish out to whatever cosmic force had brought him here. Thank you for this gift. Thank you for her. Help me be worthy of this chance. In their separate rooms, both Jade and Willie lay awake, thinking about each other, both feeling the same mixture of hope and fear and desperate longing. Both knowing that something important had shifted tonight. Both ready to see where it would lead. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new questions, new moments to navigate. But tonight had brought something neither of them had expected when Willie first appeared in Jade's living room 3 days ago. Tonight had brought the beginning of something real,